Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the Planning Hearing Officer hearing for May 14th, 2025. Time is 9:36 a.m. My name is Eileen Babakani and I will be conducting the hearing as hearing officer for one of the cases of today. The Planning Hearing Officer meeting is being broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable Channel 6 and AT&T U-verse, and also Channel 99. Meetings are also streamlined live in high definition on the city's webpage, glendaleca.gov/live, also on youtube.com/myglendale, and also on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire iOS and Android devices using a free app called Cablecast by choosing Glendale TV from the menu. Meetings are also archived on the city's website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. For public comments and questions during this hearing, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. For this morning, we have two cases involving discretionary permit applications. We are going to change the order of the items in the agenda. The first item is addressed as 317 West Palmer Avenue, and this is a conditional use permit. And the second item is for 2233 Honolulu Avenue, and that is for a parking reduction permit request. We're going to hear item number 2, and another planning hearing officer will be here to hear the first case located at 317 West Palmer Avenue. The hearing will be proceed as follows. I will read the description of the request. And then I will read the report received from other city departments and other letters or communications from interested parties. And then the case planner will make a brief overview of the case and also will tell us what is the staff recommendation for that case. The applicant will then be asked to call on to present the project, stating both name and address. And also the applicant will be asked to present the case within a time limit of 15 minutes. Others in support or opposition of the case or any other interested parties will be called also to give their testimonies, and the time limit for the testimony of the speaker will be 3 minutes. Lastly, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make any closing comment statements, and the time frame will be 5 minutes. And after that, the hearing will be closed and the case will be taken under submission. For the findings of each case, if the evidence presented in the application and at the hearing meets the required findings set forth in the municipal code, then the project can either be approved or approved with conditions. If the findings of fact are not evident, then the request will be denied. For the decision after the hearing, the decision will be prepared in writing and will be in form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at the hearing or by submitting written responses and have provided their name and also their mailing address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. Records of decisions for all projects will be posted online on the city's website. For the appeal, under the appeal provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal must file using the city's online permit portal. For any additional information regarding the appeal process and submittal, you may contact the case planner for each case. For the public notice, notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices which were mailed to property owners, occupants located within 500 feet radius of the subject property, physically posted also on the site and also placed on the local newspaper. For the item 2, located at 2233 Honolulu Avenue, this is a parking reduction permit with a case number PPRP-00190-2022. We have Armik Shanazarian from Permit Processing and Consulting LLC as an applicant, and also the owner is Montrose Plaza LLC. The project description is to request a parking reduction permit to allow for the reduction of 13 parking spaces for the conversion of an existing 4,906 square foot mechanical equipment room and attic space to a 4th floor and to be used as a general office use within an existing 16,200 square foot commercial building, which is located in the CR zone, commercial retail zone. For the departmental comments that were received for this request, Neighborhood Services Division didn't have any comment. Building and Safety Division provided general comments requesting the permit to be obtained, obviously if the case is approved today, to the permit to be obtained from building, to be obtained for building, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and also additional document to be provided, like soil report, architectural plan, structural design, roof and site drainage, and also the project to comply and provide documentation in compliance with the green building plans. These are basically general standard comments from Building and Safety Division. From Glendale Water and Power Office, we do not have comments, major comments, mainly because the comment is that the site is served by Crescento Valley Water District and not by Glendale Water and Power, and the comment is advising the applicant to contact their office in Crescento Valley Water District for any comments. Our traffic engineering doesn't have comment and is referring the review to the city's parking manager. And the parking manager provided comments that there is no objection to the parking exception, which I mean probably this meant parking reduction permit that we have today. The only comment that our parking manager provided is that there shouldn't be any obligation for the city to provide the additional 13 parking spaces in case if the parking lot number 3 in the future is removed or there is a future development on that side of the parking lot number 3. Okay. With that, I think we're ready to hear your presentation. Mr. Premian, if you don't mind starting your presentation, thank you.
Planning Hearing Officer Babahani, members of the audience, both present here and watching us live. Good morning, I'm Shorike Premian, the case planner for this project. I will provide a brief overview of the proposed application. The proposal is to convert the existing fourth floor of the commercial building, approximately 4,763 square feet of floor area based on the most recent floor plan that was submitted, conversion to general office use. As a result, 13 additional on-site parking spaces are required for the office use. That's based on 2.7 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet. The property provides 0 parking spaces on site, therefore a parking reduction permit is required to be approved. Under environmental determination, under CEQA, which is California Environmental Quality Act, this project, because this project involves a minor alteration at the interior of the existing building, does not include any expansion of the footprint or floor level of the building, therefore it is exempt under Class 1. Just a brief overview of the proposed site. It is located in the Montrose Shopping Park on the north side of Honolulu Avenue, between Vertigo Road. If we look at the aerial, this is Vertigo Road, this is Ocean View. The project site is located on the north side of Honolulu. As you can see from this plan, Montrose public parking lot number 2 is located directly behind the subject site. Also, if you look at the zoning map, that is highlighted in yellow, and the proposed site is right here on Honolulu. I just put photos of the building. The one on the left is the view of the building from Honolulu Avenue. As you can see, the ground level is retail, which is currently used as a bookstore. We have the second floor, third floor, and the fourth floor is way on top, which is, again, within the existing building footprint. And then the one on the right is from the view from the alley side direction. It's slightly elevated. You can see the entry from the alley side direction, where when you enter, the retail bookstore is in the basement almost, and you have this first floor or second floor, third floor, and the fourth floor as the top floor level. And then I put the existing site plan. As you can see from the site plan, the building was built in 1966, covering the entire property, which also had a ground level or lower level, middle level, upper level, and then the top level, which had a mezzanine space at the time. At the time, of course, either parking was not required, therefore not provided, back in 1966. The mezzanine space, just a brief background, the mezzanine space on the fourth floor is approximately 1,500 square feet based on former documents and decisions. The fourth floor was added at one point, which is shown in gray area. Several applications were filed since 1994 based on the record. In 1994, an administrative exception was granted to utilize the third floor for a gymnasium use with less than the required number of parking spaces. In 1988, a health club request to operate without parking, but that application was denied. In 2000, a standards variance was denied to add floor area on the fourth floor. This is the most directed to the request, and to exceed the building height for the construction of the elevator and stair shaft. The decision was appealed to the Board of Zoning Adjustment and was partially approved. So basically, they approved the building height, and then they said occupancy of the third floor, which was not clear. However, the variance approval expired at the time. The last application was in 2003, which had a similar application. It was filed and approved to create a fourth floor area and to increase the building height. However, at the time, there was a condition which said the floor area would be restricted, and of course, conditions to be limited to attic space and mechanical equipment room. The applicant can, of course, explain that further. This application for this parking reduction permit is merely requesting to convert the entire fourth floor to a general office use. And all of this was explained in the staff report in more details. The proposed floor plan was submitted by the applicant, which showed the existing mezzanine space, and then the remainder of the fourth floor to be converted to office space. Staff required a parking analysis report for the proposed office use. A vehicle miles traveled VMT screening assessment memorandum was also prepared by Jano Baldanyan, who's a licensed traffic engineer. Both copies were included in the staff report as Exhibits 5 and 6. The findings of fact is under parking reduction permit is under section 30.50040B, basically indicates that the proposed intensification of use within an existing building that is determined by the review authority to be located within a reasonable distance of an off-street city parking facility. A request for parking reduction may be granted by the review authority based on the type of use and its associated parking characteristics, which includes the following, and I listed those. And my staff report again summarizes this findings of fact through documents that were provided by the applicant. As a reminder, with any discretionary application, the burden of proof is on the applicant by presenting information and supporting document for the file. Staff believes that the finding of fact for the parking reduction permit has been made and therefore recommends approval of this entitlement with 10 conditions. I would like to just briefly mention a few of the important conditions. Condition number 3, which is specific to general office use. If there are any other uses on the fourth floor, even a medical office use instead of a general office use, it will require, it will be considered expansion or modification of the use. Therefore, a new application may be required. And condition number 7, based on the hours of operation that they presented to us, shall be limited from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. And number 9, design review approval will be required. And then finally, condition number 10, the city would require a business registration certificate for any of the office uses for the operation. Again, before I complete my presentation, for the record, I would like to mention staff received one email inquiring about the application, and once the information was provided, the individual supported the proposal and wished the owner success in their obtaining the city permit. We also received a hand-delivered letter through mail. I submitted copies of the email and the letter for the record and for your information.
Thank you so much. And the letter was in opposition or in support?
If I can read the letter for
Yes,
the
thank you.
record, it says, Planning Hearing Officer, the 3 blocks in Montrose, Honolulu are the Montrose Shopping District, and they are not an office district. The large parking lot on Florencita is for Honolulu Avenue customers and not employees. The local property owners paid for their space many, many years ago.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your
And that concludes my presentation. The applicant is present with the property owner as well as John Obaldanyan, who prepared the parking study and the VMT study. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I have questions for you. Just for clarification with the, if you can just have the new submitted proposed floor plan on the screen. If we can clarify, what is the proposed floor area in terms of the size and square footage?
According to the recent submittal of the floor plan, the total fourth floor area is 4,763, where we initially, when we received the application, it was a different square footage. But the most recent one includes the area that what used to be the mezzanine level, the area that's on the right of the screen, and the remainder of the floor is currently just in storage area. That's how it's been used. But in moving forward, the final square footage that we got from the applicant is 4,763.
With the 4,763 square feet, we are still going to require 13 parking spaces for general office use.
Correct. The number of parking spaces required per code didn't change.
Okay. And the mezzanine that was approved, along with the other uses in the building, were used for general office, except the first floor?
The first floor was retail, second, third floor office uses. The mezzanine space was restricted in the last decision letter, which was the, let me just get the correct. The last decision letter back in 2003 limited the use of the mezzanine space to just mechanical room, and the rest of the building as attic space.
Okay, so the mezzanine was supposed to be used only for the mechanical room.
Correct.
So the layout that we have for the offices here, and it's called existing office, it's basically proposed
It's proposed.
office, okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I would like to call the applicant team. You will have 15 minutes in total, so you may divide your time between consultant and yourself when you're presenting. Mr. Shanazarian, you are the designer and applicant.
Yes.
State your full name and your address,
Okay.
and we can keep the time, right? Thank you.
Okay. Name is Armek Shanazarian, 639 West Broadway, Glendale, California, 91204. Just for clarification purposes, as the case planner, Mrs. Yepremian indicated, we proposing to use the attic storage space as an office use. There was a confusion among the people that I discussed in the Montrose shopping area. They were under impression that we were trying to do the first floor as an office rather than the fourth floor. So that was, I talked to so many people in that area and just mentioned to them that this is the office space, and I do have tremendous amount of people in support of it, due to the fact that a lot of people, they want to have office in that area, and since it's a pedestrian-friendly environment, and they want to have an office in that area, but unfortunately, this building is one of the only buildings that provides office in that area. And the majority of the clients that the owner is also requesting to have office spaces. So there's a tremendous amount of demand for office use in that neighborhood. The other item that I want to mention that if you could see from the proposed floor plan, majority of the space is going to be used as a hallway to lead to the secondary staircase, which is going to be required. So basically, our office spaces is divided into smaller sections as a use, because for a per building code, I need to provide secondary exit from there. So that's going to be mainly either this layout or just going to be somebody that is going to occupy the whole fourth floor, basically. And we had clients coming in and requesting to have open office spaces. But schematically, we try to show you that this is the layout because a lot of production company, they have a lot of employees, but they don't want to enclosed office space. They want to open office spaces. So, but this is what's going to be. And the mention about the offices being used, existing thing. There's existing restrooms there. An existing thing was built prior to this, but again, the use was defined as an attic mechanical, but this is what it's existed over there. Just want to clarify this. And as far as the parking, I'll have Jono answer your questions. If you have any other questions, I can.
I will call you for questions, but I
Please.
want you to have that 15 minutes dedicated
Sure.
for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have Mr. Jono Bagdanian.
I'm here just to answer questions if you may have any.
Okay. So no statement at this time for
No.
you?
I concur with the assessment that staff has provided in the report. It's accurate according to the parking study that we prepared.
Perfect. And for the record, if you please state your full name and
Sure.
address?
John O'Bagdinian, JB & Associates, 6442 Platte Avenue, West Hills, California.
Thank you so much. Okay, from now, we don't need to keep the time. I
Yes.
need to ask questions from the applicant, and then let me know if there's anyone. We don't have any other speaker card for this item, but if there's anyone on the phone.
We don't have any callers as of now, and I would like to also, if you may ask the applicant if they concur with the conditions
Yes,
later on. Yeah,
yes.
thank you.
You may come forward again,
Okay.
Ms. Shanazarian. Thank you so much. I do have questions, and then we will get to the conditions.
Sure.
It will be quick. So what I'm hearing, the layout that was provided for for this proposed office uses may change, but the total square footage is going to remain the same. And as I mentioned, the areas that was used for the mezzanine now is labeled as existing office. Are they being used currently as an existing office?
There's a tenant there that is being used.
Okay, so basically, if this is approved, those areas needs to be legalized if
Yes.
you're going to
Yes.
keep them as an
Yes.
existing, with
Yes.
an existing
That's right.
layout.
Yes.
If it's not approved, this case is not approved, you will need to remove those
Yes.
offices.
Yes.
And are you proposing, I see that there is no proposal, but for the opening or windows, but is this
There's-
going
we're
to
not
comply
gonna-
with building code, the
Yes,
way that?
yes.
Okay, the layout. And one more question, I'm not sure if the property owner is here, or maybe you can answer the question. For how long the current owner owns the building?
The current owner, I think at one point it was sold, and
You may come forward if you don't mind, and state your name. Thank you so much.
My name is Dominique Jarmaz Weiselman, and I own the property at 2233 Honolulu.
Mhm.
To answer your question, we purchased the property in 1995. At one point, we sold the property, and we carried the paper, so the person who bought the property from us owed us the full amount that we sold the property to them for,
Okay.
and they were unable to meet the conditions to pay us the money back. So we had to take the property back. I think that happened after 2003. I think it was like 2004.
2004. So who
And-
requested,
So I'm not sure what happened between that time frame when the person who purchased the property from us and what they did during that time. I'm not sure what applications they made.
okay. What was the year of sale? You purchased it
It's hard
1995?
for me to remember. I'd have
Okay.
to go back through my records.
Okay.
I don't know the exact year.
Because there are several other requests that were denied. I need to understand who was the applicant and owner and at the time of those
You
requests.
might have the
Yes.
records.
She wasn't the owner. It was done by the purchaser.
Okay,
So all these
The people
applications-
that we sold the property to at
They
that time.
applied for it, and then unfortunately, they couldn't handle the loan amount or thing, so they went foreclosed it, so they had to get their property back. So all these items that has happened, it was done under the previous owner. So they purchased it, they got it back, the property. I can provide you with the documentation.
and the health club request also for the variance was during your
2003.
ownership,
Yeah.
in 1998?
1998, no, I think the health club, you had it, no? The
Yeah, the health
gymnasium.
club,
Club
yes.
is,
Yes,
okay.
The
they wanted
gymnasium,
to be a tenant of ours, and we said you have to go to the city to
I
get approval if
understand.
you choose.
Okay, that's
Yes.
very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you also for the clarifications on the ownership and the time frame for this request, because I need to understand who was
Yeah, yes, yes, of
requesting
course.
at the time. Because the request is very similar to what now you're requesting.
Yes, yes. Actually, in that time, when they applied for a gymnasium, I think they gave 56 parking exceptions.
Okay, good to know. And I'm not sure if you have this calculation for the parking counts. What is the required parking count for the existing uses on the site,
I think it should be,
including retail
well,
and?
existing, you're talking about per today's code.
Exactly.
Oh, per today's code, so we have the area roughly about 16,200 square feet. And then first level is roughly about, first level is roughly about 4,000 square feet. So 4,000, I guess, divided by 250, so you're talking about 20 spaces. And then each floor is roughly about 4,500 square feet or 4,600, let's take average. And those are offices, office uses. So you're talking about maybe 15, 20, right? Maybe about 45 to 50 spaces.
In addition to the
In
retail?
addition, that 13 spaces.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And for the conditions, did you review the conditions?
Yeah, condition, that's one,
recommended
yes.
conditions by
And I
staff?
just want to bring one thing that it's kind of a vague for me for the DRB. We're not doing any openings or anything because it's sort of a historical building. And we cannot touch anything exterior.
It is not a historical building, but it is an older building.
I know it's not historical, but it's in a, because I talked to, when I was doing this research, I talked to, I think, Jay. And they said that try to avoid touching the buildings, which we're trying to do.
Okay, but the statement, condition, recommended condition number 9, it's just a general statement.
Oh, that's fine.
That it
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
a design review
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hearing
Yeah,
or an
yeah.
design
That's
review
fine.
exemption.
Yeah, those are fine.
Okay, and then that will be determined
Yes.
when you're ready to
Yeah.
apply for the
Yes.
permit.
Permit, yes.
We need to revisit to see if there's any changes rather
Of
than
course,
what we
of
see
course. Yeah,
today. We may come back to the hearing again, or may need
That's fair enough.
different level of review, okay? Do you have the conditions with you, by the way?
I have the, yes.
Do you mind going over the condition for me quickly and make sure that the owner is aware of the condition, you're aware of the conditions, and if there's any clarification, you can ask me now.
I think she reviewed it and she has no objection prior to the meeting.
The operation hours?
Operation hours, it's just basically general office that we have at the, over there, and majority of the people, they come in at 8 o'clock, they leave at 6. They're professional offices. And then I just want to bring it to your attention that sometimes some tenants, they come in on Saturday, they want to do like a small work at the office, but the office is open during the business hours. But sometimes you're going to have people like, for example, me, I go to my office maybe Saturday to do some work. But generally, it's operating between 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. max.
Thank you. I don't see a condition about the employee parking. Are you going to be open if we condition, in case if we are ready to approve this, to have a condition of restricting the employee from parking on the parking lot number 3?
It's kind of a.
Would be difficult to enforce,
It's
but
very difficult to enforce. The reason behind it is majority of these offices, the people, they own maybe about 200-300 square feet, and maybe they have 1 or 2 employees. These are basically professional, like attorneys and thing that they thing, and they come and go. And majority of time, they just do office work. And as you know, the way that right now everybody operates, majority they work from home. But just for a client meeting, they come to their office. So it's not like a huge office space that, yes, if somebody, one of the tenants, for example, on the 4th floor decides to have a huge office and with a lot of employees, then yeah, we can ask them to provide, but it's very difficult to enforce them.
I understand.
But we will do that,
Yeah.
that's not an issue.
Okay, I need to look into it more.
Okay,
I was just asking your opinion.
yeah,
If
thank you, ma'am.
There is a recommended condition and final condition similar to what I said. And then do we know what type of business, or is there anyone right now?
The tenants we have is just, for example, they have insurance, they have some attorneys, they have,
Right now? the
right now.
current ones,
At
okay.
So, as I said, like, the attorneys, majority of the time, they're doing from home, but in order to meet their client, they come to the office. So. And then insurance, again, the same thing. It's not like people walk into their office to thing. Everything is being done by, nowadays with the computer and thing, so that's the thing. But
Okay,
they want to have a physical office, that's the location.
okay. Thank you so much. And I also read the traffic study. The informations appear to be accurate to me. So I would like to take this case under submission
Okay, ma'am.
at this moment. You don't have any question?
No,
Okay.
thank you for
You
your
may have a
time. Thank
seat. And do we have a caller?
Madam Chair, we have one caller.
Okay, we can take the caller.
Edward, can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you.
Go ahead, please. You have 3 minutes.
I'm just calling regarding the 317 Palmer, the preschool. I wanted to voice my support for the preschool. I
No.
think.
Edward, we
Yes.
are not on that case yet. You may want to call back later.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
That was not related to this case.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, I think there's no more questions for me. And I will take this case under submission. We're going to have another planning hearing officer to hear your case. Thank you. And we will need 3 minutes recess to switch. Thank you so much.
Are we live? Okay, good morning, and welcome back to the Planning Hearing Officer meeting where we will hear the next agenda item. The case number is PCUP 003877-2024. The project address is 317 West Palmer Avenue. The applicant's name is Simon Dovlatian, and the owner is Lilit Akopian and Stepan Gazalian. The project description is the request for an approval of a conditional use permit to allow a new private preschool within an existing 2,773 square foot building, which was previously occupied by a church and child care nursery, and to demolish a detached garage at the rear to create a landscaped open space activity area. And this is all in the R2250 medium density residential zone. I will now read the comments from departments. There's a comment from the Public Works Traffic Engineering section. Their comments are that on-street parking is in high demand in this project area, and that any new development that does not meet parking requirements as per code may impact parking availability in the area. They also requested that a trip generation calculation memorandum be prepared. That was prepared, and they determined that a local transportation analysis was not required based on the findings from that report. They also commented that they anticipate potential challenges with student pickup and drop-off operations, and they recommended that the applicant be required to provide a designated off-street area for those activities to ensure safe and efficient traffic flow. And then they have another comment about storing construction-related equipment on the public right-of-way. They also provided a memo clarifying two of those conditions and stating that they cannot guarantee that they will be able to basically reserve the street for the drop-off and pickup activities, which they refer to as providing white curbs. So those are the comments from that section. There were comments provided by Glendale Water and Power, but they don't seem to be substantially of concern. They're just standard comments that relate to construction and adding different utility-related equipment. Similar standard type comments were issued from the building division, stating that plans need to be provided showing compliance with building code standards. They give some code requirements relating to bathrooms and the playground area, but nothing specific. It just says to be in compliance with the California Building Code. And they talk about complying with handicap standards. There was a comment from the city arborist technician. And basically, there doesn't seem to be a concern about city trees or indigenous protected trees being impacted by the project. And then the code compliance section did not have any comments. There's a comment from the fire department relating the e-occupancy and there being a maximum number of infants or toddlers within that occupancy. So that summarizes the comments from the different city departments. The planner has indicated that no public comment letters were received prior to the hearing.
That's correct, Madam Hearing Officer. No written letters or emails or phone calls were received for this application.
Thank you. I will now call on the case planner to provide an overview of the project, please.
Yes, Planning Hearing Officer Pruitt, members of the audience, again, both present here and watching us live, good morning. I'm Shoik Yepremian, the case planner for this project. I will provide a brief overview of the proposed application. The proposal is as follows, to convert an existing 2,773 square foot church building. The building was built back in 1938. The proposal is to convert that to a private preschool. It includes, or proposed to be for 60 students, ages 2 to 5, a total of 6 staff members, 5 teachers, and 1 director. The proposed hours of operation is Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., and they're proposing staggered drop-off and pickup times. The zoning on the property is R2250, which is medium-density residential, and it requires a conditional use permit approval for them to operate a preschool. Prior approvals include a conditional use permit that was issued back in 1967, which allowed a nursery school up to 15 children within the church operation. And the most recently, back on March 26, 2025, AB 2097 or Assembly Bill 2097 was approved for the reduction of parking spaces. Basically, they're not providing any on-site parking spaces through this Assembly Bill 2097 approval. The environmental determination is Class 1, existing facilities, under CEQA, because the project involves a new 2,773 square foot private preschool within an existing building. Just the location of the property, it is located, the subject site is located on the north side of Palmer, between Central Avenue and San Fernando Road, and we can see this through the aerial view. This is Central Avenue, and we have San Fernando Road, and the project is located on the north side of the street, and it shows the zoning R2250. The area is developed with single-family, multifamily, and some commercial development, especially on Central and San Fernando side direction. The site is approximately 7,279 square feet. I've added some photos of the subject site. Again, this is the building, which used to be a church building on Palmer Avenue, and the existing site conditions. I've added the existing site plan, which showed the building footprint, the location of the garage at the rear of the property, which is proposed to be demolished. And when we look at the proposed site plan, the rear of the property will be open space landscape area, but no changes are proposed to the existing building in terms of additional square footage. There are 4 required findings of fact, that the proposed use will be consistent with the various elements and objectives of the general plan. Number 2, that the use and its associated structures and facilities will not be detrimental to the public health or safety, the general welfare, or the environment. Number 3, that the use and facilities will not adversely affect or conflict with adjacent uses or impede the normal development of surrounding property. And number 4, that adequate public and private facilities such as utilities, landscaping, parking spaces, and traffic circulation measures are or will be provided for the proposed use. All of this is explained in my staff report and the draft findings. As you mentioned, Madam Hearing Officer, Public Works Traffic required a vehicle trip generation memorandum, which was prepared by a licensed traffic engineer dated December 30th, 2024. Our mobility planner also required a vehicle miles traveled screening assessment technical memorandum that was also prepared by the same traffic engineer. That is, of course, part of the CEQA analysis. The staff report and the draft findings elaborate each required findings, as I mentioned. Based on the evidence presented to staff from plans and submitted documents, I would like to mention that the burden of proof is on the applicant in making sure all of the 4 required findings are appropriately made. And staff believes that the findings of fact for the conditional use permit can be made and therefore recommends approval of this application with 27 conditions. If I may go over the conditions briefly. Some conditions are standard conditions. However, I would like to go over some of the conditions for the record that may be applicable to this project directly. Number 7 is the noise that shall be contained to the site, such as persons of normal sensitivity off-site are not disturbed. Condition number 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 all relate to other departmental comments, and they should be fully complied with. Number 14 is that the school shall not have more than 60 students and 6 staff members. Number 15, that the school hours of operation shall be limited to Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. And number 16, morning drop-off and afternoon pickup hours shall be staggered, and I included the hours and the number of students for each half-hour period. And number 17, I recommend that at least 1 staff member shall coordinate and monitor student drop-off and pickup during the school hours to avoid any traffic congestion on Palmer Avenue. Number 18, this is also a recommended condition that the school shall somehow communicate with the parents and distribute written communication to all parents on how to best drop off and pick up the students during school hours, and to encourage other various other means of transportation, such as carpooling, vanpooling, and a copy of that communication should be submitted to Planning Division. And also, school outdoor playtime be staggered 4 shifts. That's condition number 19. And then number 24, if possible, that the school administration members shall avoid parking on the street and utilize the existing driveway to park their vehicles during school hours. And finally, the last condition, staff is proposing to revisit this project in 3 years, and the date will be determined if the project is, or the application is approved. We have shared the conditions of this application with the applicant, and they concurred with all the conditions. Again, for the record, as of this morning, staff did not receive any comments either in writing, via email or mail, or phone message from immediate neighbors. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. You mentioned that the proposed hours of operation were 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. The copy that I'm looking at, it says 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
7:30. 7:30.
So the proposed is 7:30 a.m.?
7:30.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions for staff at this time. I would now like to call on the applicant or representative to make your presentation. You have 15 minutes. Please make sure to state your name for the record and to speak into the microphone.
Hello, my name is Danny Manasarian. Shalik, thank you for that presentation. You did a great job, mentioned all the conditions. We concur with majority of them. I kind of want to go through a few. Actually, condition number 15, regarding the timing of the school. We did speak to the owner yesterday, and instead of 7:30, I think if they open at 7 o'clock, that's something that we discussed that they'd want to change that from 7:30 to 7.
Okay.
And then, yeah, other than that, we do concur with majority, like all the conditions. And then there's a few examples that we have of similar schools that have the front drop-off, the white zone. And we did speak to Public Works, and that's not included in this, but they said, why don't you, go through the conditional use process, get the permits, build, do the construction, and then you can apply for that white curb at the front. And there's a few examples of similar schools that have done that. I think actually, sorry, my USB is here. I don't know if we can show that, some pictures of and addresses of some of the schools that are, is that something that we can do?
Yeah, you have 15 minutes to
Yeah,
do your
okay.
presentation. You can share exhibits if you'd like. By the way, when I said to your request on the condition, that just meant I've noted it. That doesn't mean I've granted it, just to clarify.
What granted?
When you asked about the condition and I said
No, I
just
know.
for the audience, I'm clarifying that.
Yeah.
that
I'm
I
just letting
heard
you know,
you.
that
Yeah,
we
okay.
discussed that yesterday, and that's something that, they would like.
Okay. Noted.
So yes, there are similar schools that have that, which would help. But we do have a driveway. We have a driveway that can accommodate up to it says 7 to 8 cars. So that's for the staffing, and then the front there will be a person to mitigate the traffic, and for the pickup and drop off. Not necessarily that's required for this operation, but Public Works did say that they will look into it and you can apply after this whole process is done. They didn't want to include this in here because that's public right of way, and we're talking about private property. So, and then regarding the floor plan, we did I do realize on the floor plan we didn't add seats, and so we did revise that. I have that if you want to see that. And then so the existing use was a church. So we get a credit of 28.6 per 1,000. So technically 79. 79 parking spaces are required. And the private school requires 3 per 1,000. So the existing use, is zoned or has a, credit of 79, and that's the current use. So our requirement would be 8, but we've applied for the parking reduction for the garage at the rear, actually. That was for, because we were removing that parking garage at the rear. Because we get a credit of 79 and we're going to 8 and we're removing that, so that's why we had to do that. And then I did also want to discuss I don't know if we can pull, okay, yeah, so this is one of them, 534 West Glen Oaks. So as you can see, these properties, they have a similar situation at the front, but there's no driveway. But they have a white, I don't know, they went through the process and how that works, but this is kind of what we were seeking. So that's one of them. This is another one, and these are in residential neighborhoods as well, similar to ours. So that's another one, 1324 Glenwood Road. And I believe, is that the same one? Sorry, that's the same one, just different angle? Yeah, and there's this one as well, and Tufengyan as well is in a residential. Tufengyan is a private preschool, and that's in a residential zone as well, and there's no parking lot there, and I believe they have a security guard and they have the white, curb at the front. But again, that's something that we will look into later, but this is something that, the owners and applicant is seeking. Shoaik, can we pull up the Google images of the school? I just had a question about existing non-conforming situation at the front.
This one?
No, just like a Google images. If we can just go on Google and just look at the front of the property. I just want to look at the existing condition of the driveway and to the left of it.
You could just pull up the photo in the exhibit, which might be, if it's easier.
Oh,
We may not have Google Earth set up to easily go in there.
yeah.
Google Maps. Yeah, I just want to show the existing condition of the front. Not a question about the portion next to the driveway. I want to see if it's an existing non-conforming condition, if it's required to remove like a concrete area or not.
Images,
Yeah, we also have Jano here, and Vartan, the architect, and our support team over here.
just give me a minute.
So did you provide this photo with what you gave the staff?
These photos?
The photo that you're wanting to see about the driveway, is that one of the things you
I
gave to
want to
staff?
discuss it, it's just the front, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so next to the driveway, there is this concrete area that it's an existing condition. Yes, exactly, that area. I wanted to see if, because it's existing non-conforming, are we required to remove it?
well, why don't I write down your question, because you get 15 minutes for your presentation, so I want you to finish your presentation and
Okay.
then we can,
That's the last question.
okay.
And that's pretty much it. I'm here for questions, and
Okay,
that's it for me.
okay, great. So, in backwards order, regarding the driveway, when you say existing non-conforming, what that would mean is that existing means that it would be permitted. Existing non-conforming means that it's permitted, even if it doesn't conform to current code standards.
Correct.
So if that is permitted and it's on approved plans that show that the city approved it, then
Right.
that would be
Okay,
an existing non-conforming condition. If that was not the case, this does not comply with current code. It's a driveway expansion. It's an added walkway or paved area next to the driveway, which is
Separation.
out of compliance with GMC 301170A1A, which doesn't allow that, and also GMC 3032-130G7,
Okay.
which requires any paving next to a driveway to be separated by a landscaping strip. So that's definitely, in numerous code sections other than the two I just mentioned, not allowed. So
okay,
you can review that with your case
okay.
planner.
We just have to look at the past permit history and see, if that's somewhere in there.
Correct.
And if not, we have to provide a landscape buffer, correct?
That's not really part of my, what I'm reviewing today, so I'll let you work that out with the
All
case
right, we
planner.
yeah.
I just
a
shared
question.
some knowledge with you on what I know. So,
Madam Hearing Officer, the project also needs to comply with current landscaping code requirements, so that may need to be landscaped area
Okay,
to
that was
meet
just a
the
question, yeah.
total calculations.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay. I wanted to ask a follow-up question on something you were going over earlier. You were sharing photos of, you said, similar schools with drop-off pickup areas in the front. Were those just general schools of any kind that have drop-off areas in the front, or were those actually similar to this proposed project in terms of the use, and in terms of the site context, in terms of the size, et cetera?
I believe the use is like a private preschool, so.
All of
in
those were
terms-
private preschools,
I
not private?
believe so. I believe so, yeah.
Okay. That have drop-off areas in front of them.
Right.
That's what you were showing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, I do have some questions that I want to ask of the applicant team. Is that still you that would answer any questions?
Depending on the question,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, good. So let me ask you those. So one thing I want to ask some questions about relates to the fact that this project is in a multifamily residential zone, and in this zone, typically a daycare center is not allowed, but it's not allowed unless it's in a church, and then it would be allowed by a conditional use permit. And then, as was mentioned, this building was a church before, and they did have a nursery component with, I think, an approval for 15 children.
Correct.
So that was the use before. It was under that provision that allowed a daycare center in a church. The current application is not saying that it's for a daycare center, it's for a private preschool.
Right.
Now, I want to read the definitions, and then just as a note, so a private school is allowed in the zone, permitted by right. So I want to read these two definitions, and I want to just point out a few observations and ask some questions about why this is coming up for me, the distinction between these two. So a daycare center means a facility operated by a person, corporation, or association in which less than 24-hour per day non-medical care and supervision is provided outside the home for minor children or elderly persons, provided such facility is licensed by the state of California as a daycare center, and provided further that a copy or evidence of the license issued by the state of California is on file with the city clerk prior to occupancy of such a facility. This definition does not include facilities for the care of up to 14 persons in small and large family daycare as defined by the California Health and Safety Code. So that's a daycare center. A private school means an educational institution other than a public school which offers instruction in the several branches of learning and study required to be taught in the public schools. So I want to ask some questions about this because in the staff report, it's saying that the ages of children that you'll be servicing are from 2 to 5.
Correct.
And then, as I'll mention later, there's actually a mention in 2 different places of this being a daycare. So in the materials submitted by the applicant,
Daycare in the report?
in one of the materials submitted by the applicant and in a comment that was issued by a department that reviewed those materials.
Okay.
So that's why I want to clarify this and just,
Yeah.
get as much information as possible now from the applicant team so that I have everything I need in order to,
Correct.
make a fair ruling that complies with the zoning code.
I think we went over that with Shorik, the distinction between daycare and private preschool. So we revised the plans all to, to have private preschool. It's not a daycare. And it matches the definition that you said for private preschool because there's a curriculum they have to teach and they have the rooms for that. So I don't know
Okay,
if
let me
Liana
go
can-
through these questions. Let me go through these questions and then you can, give more information about that. So, I'm going to ask you some questions about basically how, more details and information about how this proposed use is a preschool and does not include a daycare center. I'm going to ask about the curriculum, the class and age group, I'm going to ask about the classroom schedule. What happens after class? Does it then become a daycare center? Will the staff consist of certified preschool teachers? What is the state certification that will be obtained for the preschool? The floor plan? And then the trip generation memorandum and the response from Public Works, which refer to it as a daycare center. And then if that, how that implicates that study. And then some questions about the drop-off and pickup and other similar uses in Glendale. Okay, so I'll just go through the questions, but I wanted to kind of mentally
for
just
sure.
give
I
you
mean,
a
if
heads up
it's-
of like, this is what I want to ask you about. So can you provide details as to how this use is a preschool only and does not include a daycare center?
Okay. So Liana, if you want to come in, because she has run these operations before, she knows the specifics of it, so maybe
Great.
she can address all those questions, the preschool.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name is Liana Nefasardian. I'm a consultant for this project and for the director, Lilith Agopian. I also run my own preschool, so these are actual issues that I've also gone through.
Okay,
So for the first question that you had asked, the big difference is that they are not catering to any infants. So their age range will start from 2 years old and go all the way to 5 years old. Their schedule is catered to learning what each child is going to be reaching for that milestone. For example, a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old won't be doing the same things. This is not Montessori based. It is fully implemented academic style for age learning. So each child will have a catered classroom to their age range that is ensured that they are learning what their mental capacity could be taking on.
okay. So what is the curriculum for each class or age group? Like what are the classes that you would have? How would those be
So
separated?
you would have You would have classrooms separated from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. And the limitations are set that way because of birthdays for each child's date of birth. And you have to give some grace to the children who fall in between those ages and give them some time to be able to transfer on to the next class. So you work with the parent to let them know that, okay, once they become 3 years old, they'll be moving on to the next class to prep them for a few weeks prior to entering that new classroom.
Okay, great. So do you have a curriculum, or you or the applicant, I know you said you're a consultant, do you guys have a curriculum for what will be covered in those classes? That's just getting back to the definition of private school, educational institution that's instruction in the several branches of learning and study required to be taught in public schools. Like
Yes, we do.
what are the subjects being taught?
So the subjects being taught, again, is based on what the child should be hitting milestone-wise of the age. So besides them learning their basic tracing, their fine motor skills, and becoming self-sufficient, along with basic numerical values, their ABCs, teaching them calendar use, reading numbers, having circle time being taught to them, which is technically like one-on-one services to the group of kids that you are catering to be able to teach to them.
Okay, so
you can't really judge it based off of what district level teaches, which is a standard English, math, and science. You are giving them the introduction of what is about to come as they grow up, because you can't just throw math at a kid without them understanding what each number looks like and what numbers are, or what the ABCs are, or how to read, or how to put words, vowels, synonyms all together.
right, I mean, it makes sense to me that learning your ABCs is a formative stage of learning the English language, and similar with numerical values and calendaring and numbering and all of that. So you mentioned that there's milestones for learning, and this is implemented academic style, and that you have these different age groups. So is there a different curriculum for each of those groups?
Correct. And I'm happy to provide that via email if that's possible. We did not bring that with us.
I'm not sure if that can be done because it has to be presented during the hearing.
So with explaining, each age group will have its own curriculum and daily schedule set and catered to them. For example, 2-year-olds, the 2 to 3 classroom will be having more motor skills, more 1, 2, 3s, and basic introduction to holding pencils and worksheets. 3 to 4 will already have implemented workbooks to be able to cater to their basic schedule. So they'll have a workbook for English, a workbook for their basic mathematical skills, a workbook for science, for example, how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly and all of that, and so on.
Okay. Thank you. And I don't know if this will be you or someone else on your team, so what is the proposed classroom schedule?
So
As opposed to, non-educational, like active learning and academic component?
So the schedule would start once the child arrives to the building. They would be coming in and having free play, settling down. Around 8:30 to 9:15, they would be having breakfast. From 9:30, they would have their potty breaks with the entire classroom, and then go on to their circle time, which is normally done on a whiteboard or on the rug in the classroom. Circle time is something where the whole class is involved with all the teachers. After circle time, depending on the classroom that they're in, they would either have something for motor skills or their workbooks and their worksheets. They would have a 30 to 40-minute outdoor time after that, and then lunchtime. 12:30 to 2:30 would be nap time, which is their most quiet time where the kids get to rest and get replenished for snack time at 3 o'clock. Snack time could be outdoor or indoor, depending on what the classroom and the staff is doing that day. They would have another 30 to 45-minute playtime, and then around 4 o'clock, they would come back inside to do projects. For example, if the month has Father's Day or Mother's Day, they would be doing something educational hands-on based on the month that they're in. After that, they would have guided play, which is normally with blocks or numbers, or creative play where they get to dress up in costumes, use the kitchen sets, or whatever other classroom amenities that they have. And then they will have another free play until pickup, which is about 30 minutes.
So what I'm understanding from what you're saying is that basically throughout the entire day, they are doing learning and educationally based activities
Correct.
with numerous break times and play activities,
Correct.
free time in between. Okay.
It's just like how, for example, the public school will run. You go in, line up, have breakfast, go to class, do your work. You have potty breaks in the class that the teacher allows you to go by yourself. Instead, here is just the teacher takes the kids to the bathroom, and then you do your work, have lunch outside, go back to class, and then go home.
Okay, and then you mentioned there's numerous break times and play times. So getting to the use of the outdoor play area, how many breaks would be involved in going out to the outdoor play area?
Twice.
Just 2 times during the day?
Correct. And that's on rotation with the different ages.
Okay, you mentioned there's a 30 to 40-minute outdoor time in the morning, and then they have lunchtime. Is lunchtime also outside?
It will most likely be inside, and then they would be able to go outside.
And then snack time at 3 p.m., you said, that's inside or outside?
Inside.
And then a 30 to 45-minute play time in the afternoon, so that was the other outdoor time slot? And the free play to pick up, 30-minute, is that inside, outside?
Inside.
Okay.
So they get 2 outdoor times. and it's on rotation. For example, if the 2 to 3-year-olds are doing worksheets, the 3 to 4s can go outside. Once they finish, they rotate. That way, not everybody is outside, and noise and volume is under control.
Okay, so in the conditions of approval, it talks about staggering the playtimes. I thought it did. It talks about staggering drop-off and pickup. I thought I saw something about it staggering playtime. Am I right on that?
Correct.
Oh, okay, so, wait. I'm not seeing it here. So is it staggering it to 15 kids, kind of like with the drop-off time?
Correct.
Okay, so if the use is proposed to have 60 children, and you're staggering it by 15, that would be 4 different slots. So in the morning, there would be four slots for 30 to 40-minute outdoor time. That would be basically 2 hours plus of there being outdoor playtime spread across the groups. And then it seems like during lunch, there could also be kids outside. And then in the afternoon, similar, there could be up to 2+ hours, 2.5, I guess, 2 to 2.5 hours. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Two groups at once. Just to clarify, it's 2 groups, so that comes out to be 30 kids out at the same time. So for example, the 2 to 3s and 3 to 4s would be out together, and then 3 to 4s would be out.
So here, I found the condition. So it's condition 19, that the school outdoor playtime shall be staggered in 4 shifts, maximum of 15 students at a time.
Sorry. Yes, it's, each class will go out during their playtime, which is twice a day, and then on rotation. So I'm so sorry about the confusion. My first explanation was correct. They will be on rotation, which will come out to be about 2+ hours outside in total.
Okay. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, and then my next question is, will the staff consist of certified preschool teachers?
Yes, all staff is ECE certified and/or has a master's or bachelor's degree in childhood development, including the head director, which will also have CPR training for infant-level children.
Okay. Thank you. And then what is the state certification that the school itself will have?
So CDS, once we get approval from the city, CDSS will be coming out, inspecting the building, making sure that all of their codes are up to date as well. And in simple terms, baby-proofing the building for the kids. Once they give you approval, you get a license number put on the board, which is present for all public to see once they enter your building, and that caters to the numerical value that you're able to hold inside the building, which matches the one that the city gives. And they come as needed to check the facility, make sure that it's upheld, it's clean, it's safe, it's sanitary, and then you hold the restrictions as needed.
Okay, and then just to clarify, you said the teachers will be ECE certified. Can you say out what that abbreviation is?
Ooh.
ECE? And I'm guessing when you said CDSS comes out, is that the Department of Social Services, California, or
California
Department of
Division, yeah.
Social Services? Okay. And then,
It's early childhood education for ECE.
okay.
Also with that, just to let you guys know that staff, besides all the accreditation that they have, they will also be background checked for the safety of the kids that will be in the building.
Okay, thank you. So the certification from the school is from the California Department of Social Services?
Correct.
And is it the California Child Care Licensing? Is that, okay,
They handle, besides the approval that the city gives us, they are technically the ones that give us the last approval, because everything that we cater inside the building has to do with the kids' safety, who are they that manage everything. So they will give us all the advice and regulations for everything that gets done in the building, besides what permits does.
okay. Okay, and then, let me see if there's any other questions for you. Maybe I can try to kind of split it up that way. I think that's all the questions I might have for you, that you would answer at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the floor plan that was submitted with the application consists of large open spaces, and it doesn't show classroom seating and/or any educational activity areas. So is there a proposed floor plan that supports the use as a preschool that has academic, educational, and learning activities going on? Oh, do you want to come up here and? Okay, so you want to submit a revised floor plan? So this floor plan consists of the entire building?
Yes.
Okay, so the prior floor plan just had basically two large open areas. Oh, is it up there? You have it there? Can you pull up the floor plan on there? Or do you not have it as part of the?
I don't think that was part of the
Okay.
I don't think that was, but I can find the file.
If you're able to pull it up, that would be helpful. Just on my memory, it had a large open space area at the center, and then it had a smaller open area, I think it called it an activity area or something, on a corner of it, and then it had like a couple other rooms, like an office and a bathroom and stuff. So this revised plan that I've been presented, now it shows 5 classrooms. So I guess there will be some interior walls added to create these classrooms, and it shows 3 tables and chairs around in all of the classrooms. So just verbally describing what I'm seeing here, what was presented. Thank you. Okay, and then I mentioned that there's a trip generation memorandum and then a responding memorandum from Public Works. I guess they reviewed it and responded to that. So let me ask about that. So, the trip generation memorandum, so under the calculations table, Table 1, project trip generation, it says the land use is a daycare center, code 565 from the ITE code. So I'm just wondering if some further detail can be provided about why that coding was used, and if there's a distinction between that and a preschool or private school, and then whether that would change any of the analysis that was done. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. John O'Bagdinian, JB Associates, 6442 Platte Avenue, West Hills. In response to your question, the IT trip generation, which is used in the industry, does not have very specific land uses with the description which distinguishes between daycare or preschool. They all have samples of similar types of land uses where they've studied to do the trip generation. So whether you call it a daycare, if you read the definitions, will be very similar to preschool within the ages of like 3 to 5 or 6 years old. So that's what the closest we could do to estimate, in fact, at the higher rate, which is this is generating what we calculated. So there's not a specific daycare land use trip generation. There's not a specific preschool. They studied similar type of land uses, and they did a trip generation accordingly. So that's what we use, and we concurred, the Public Works Traffic Engineering concurred with our analysis.
Okay. Off the top of your head, do you know some of the other codes that you had looked at where you thought, no, we were not going to use that one?
Yeah,
Any other similar
so
ones?
there's only limited number of, these are very, like, especially if it's a private school, there are limited number of case studies where you could, say, especially the number of students, it could range between as low as 30, as low as high as 100. So that's kind of the range that you're looking at. So we thought that would be the closest we can do to estimate it. Especially this is more of a private school, which is in a residential area. They don't account for walking to and from the school because some of these schools that are residents who live within a couple of blocks, they actually walk to it. So we estimate everybody's pretty much going to be driving to and from the school. So it's more on the high side, more of a conservative number.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. And Danny, I don't know if you might be the best person to answer these two. So the prior nursery that was in the church, that's no longer there, was approved for 15 children. The request talks about the fact that the prior use has existed there for some time without, having a negative impact on the neighborhood. So just as a point of reference and kind of a baseline for what we're comparing, that was 15 children inside of a church operation where they had on-site parking. And generally being integrated into a church operation, it's understood to be less intensive that way. So with the new proposal, there's going to be 4 times as many children, and then there's going to be, the parking's going to be removed. And then Public Works Traffic Engineering has indicated that they may not be able to reserve the curb adjacent to the building as a dedicated drop-off and pickup area since the street parking is in high demand. And then since the VMT report indicates that the average travel distance for the school children will be 1.5 miles, which is much longer than walking distance, what I'm wondering is and then in the recommended conditions of approval, it talks about staggering the drop-off times so that there's 15 kids at one time being dropped off. But given that there's no on-site parking anymore, may not be any reserved drop-off area, and this is much more intensive than the prior use. And then generally just dropping off very young children, it's a bit different than dropping off older children because you can't just open the door and, have them jump out, close the door and drive off. You have to stop, take the child inside, so it takes longer to do the whole, picking up and dropping off. So given all of that, I'm just wondering how is that going to be addressed to make sure that it's not going to have a detrimental impact on the neighborhood? Like, when I'm thinking about all of that, I'm thinking, there's going to be too many cars at one time trying to drop off children. They might be double parked. They might block the road for emergency access. I don't know, it just,
So
yeah.
regarding the use and the nursery, so that used to be a church, right? So the parking for that is 20, we require 79 parking. We're eliminating the church. So we're actually going to a less intensive use. So that church is not going to be there anymore. So, and then regarding the parking and
So
the drop-off.
parking situation, when you think of it as a church, that's a lot of adults driving to go to their religious setting. As for it becoming a preschool use, we cater to it by having a designated security type person in the front with staff. So it becomes, the car comes to the curb, somebody assists coming out all the way inside, and that car leaves.
Do you mean that a staff person will come out and basically take the child?
Correct,
The parent doesn't have to go inside? They don't have to get out of their car?
correct.
They just open the door, the person gets the child, and then the parent can drive off? Okay. Sorry, were you going to say more to that?
No, it's really simplified. It's literally like the car comes, someone opens your door, picks up your child, their backpack, takes them inside, and next. The parent has no involvement or anything inside.
And then, do you think one person is sufficient to assist with, let's see, what did it say? You're going to have 15 children? Let me look at that just so in the drop-off schedule it says, okay, so every half hour there will be 15 students.
So this is I'm gonna talk to you how it actually is in reality, especially that I own my own preschool. No one comes, they don't come in a whole clan of cars. Once they're scheduled into their time frame, they slowly come in. So we will, on the back end, depending on how many kids enroll and how fast we're able to enroll kids, we'll be catering to ensure that flow goes appropriately. So in the beginning, if we have one person and we start getting enrollments, we will add 2 to 3 assistants up in the front, which make the process much smoother and faster and safer, most importantly. So answering head on, we can have up to 3 people. But for example, you guys give us the approval, doesn't mean we're gonna have 60 kids at once. It kind of takes time for kids to slowly enroll in and you getting to your on full capacity.
Yeah, so when we're looking at when we're analyzing approval of something, we want to look at it when it's running full-blown operation. That's what we want to make sure we are fully preparing the neighborhood for. If you have maximum attendance and activity going on, what's worst case scenario? Is this going to cause an impact? So we do want to think with that part. So if I understood you correctly, you're saying basically staff will monitor how the drop-off and pickup is happening, and then they will send out more people if needed.
Correct.
And that typically, and that makes sense to me, typically not all 15 people are going to show up at the exact minute. You have a 30-minute window, and usually they're trailing in at different times, although obviously you could have a moment where you have multiple people showing up, which is probably likely. So then you could have 3 staff going up there to help if that happens. Did I get that right?
Correct, yes, you did.
Okay, great.
Don't forget, the children's safety is our top priority. As much as it is a place for us to teach and nurture children, end of the day, if something happens to that child, it's our responsibility. So safety is our top priority more than anything. So getting them out safely, ensuring that we're not causing traffic, ensuring that parents are aware what their timeframes are, how they're arriving to school, what needs to be done prior to us assisting that child getting out is our main goal before they even enroll into our school. And that way the teamwork is there.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. On this next question, this might be something more for Danny. Thank you. Thank you again. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this. Do you know if there's any other private preschools in Glendale that are on residentially zoned sites within non-historic buildings that have similar site conditions and use to the proposed use that have been shown to be compatible with the surrounding neighborhood? So, you know, what I'm looking at is, okay, this is a 2,700 square foot building on a, but you said 7,200 square foot lot or something like that. It's got residential uses on 3 sides, including, I think there's a single family use on one side. And then, you know, there's gonna be 60 children. Then there's the play area in the back that's immediately adjacent to 2 residential buildings, including windows. So I'm just thinking about that, like,
Something
you
similar to what's
happened
happening,
yeah,
what we're
I mean,
trying to propose,
I don't know
correct?
if you've looked at that, but if you have, this would be a good
Yeah.
chance to share
Yeah,
that
yeah.
information with me. Yeah.
So based on the pictures provided of the 3 to 4 different types of preschools, all of them are catered to what we're also requesting, and that's because to fit, for example, the 2 main examples would be Tufinkian Preschool and Wonder Years, where they are exactly like us, residential streets with commercial adjacent to them, with the same parking handling that we are proposing.
Okay. I mean, I understand that they're, you know, they're preschools and they have the drop-off pickup in the front, which is what the photo showed, was just the drop-off pickup in the front.
And with
So
Wonder
I-
Years, they have no staff parking, which kindly we do. We have eight parkings available.
And these are all within multifamily residential zones,
Yep,
correct? It's not
correct.
commercial?
No, they're not commercial.
Okay, thank you for those examples. I'll take a look at those and see if that's what I was, you know, if that's what I was talking about here. Thank you. Okay, that is all the question I have for the applicant at this time. Thank you very much. I'll begin the public comment portion soon. Okay. Just a minute. I have so much paper up here now I've lost track. It's this one. Here we go. Okay. So now we are going to take comments from the public. And we will take the cards and then we will take the callers. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak. When you speak, please make sure to state your name for the record and speak into the microphone. And there will be a little bell that goes off, a little ding. And I think that goes off when you have 30 seconds left, and then it goes off again when your time's up. Is that correct?
I believe so.
So just, you know, when that little sound goes on, then you know what's happening. Okay, so, and it looks like I have 9 cards here. I understand that there was a number of callers. I don't know if they're still all on the line, but I think there might be about 7. There was at some point.
Madam Planning Hearing Officer, currently we have 2 callers on the line.
Okay. And then about half of these cards seem to be from the applicant team, either the applicant or the owner or somebody like that. So on those, if you know, if, I would say if somebody else already talked about what you wanted to share, you know, you can just maybe refer to that and indicate that you know, you're basically have the same comments, just in the interest of time. Okay? So the first card I have is from Surin Dulatian, and he's the applicant of the project?
Yes. Name's Simon Dovlatian, 1981 Polaris Drive. I am the applicant. I'm a full supporter of it. I'm involved in pretty much everything, and I wanted to say thank you to the staff. And we want to basically commit good service, create jobs for the city, and just have a safe place for the kids and early education, get them ready to conquer life. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
Yep.
Next card is Danny Manasarian. Are you all good for now? Okay. Next card is from Vardan Kasamian. And you're a designer of the project?
Yes,
Hi.
thank you. Vardan Ksemian, 600 West Broadway. I'm the designer on this. I just want to add some input on this. Thank you, Shorik, for your time. Of course, Cassandra, thank you for being here. Kind of a few things to go over. One of them was, I know you were looking at it like it was 15 kids for the nursery, and it's becoming 60, but the original occupancy load for the building is about 140 for the church. And these people would be driving their parking on the street, whereas in the kids currently would be dropped off. Yes, this is a concern. The drop-off would be the main concern, but it is with all educational institutions, including the public schools that we have. The larger public schools, all of their drop-offs is happening inside. They don't have a private area. It's all happening on the street. As far as children nowadays, they're getting educated earlier. People want their kids to be the smarter and smarter. So we want to consider the fact that this is for the kids, And at the end of the day, the CUP application, they understand as owners, they're actually operating different ones, so it's not their first time doing this, so they know day-to-day operations. They've dealt with it. They also understand that the CUP application is not a final approval, and during the next couple years, if there is complaints or problems with the neighborhood, that's going to come back to them. So they would have to operate that in a way not to create problems for the neighborhood. Another thing, if you can bring up the aerial, please. The actual street isn't fully residential. A large portion of the street is actually owned by Glendale Unified School District as a parking lot. And on both ends of the street is large commercial properties. Again, the only thing here would be the drop-off. That would be the concern. But again, we want to accommodate children. This is for the children. So it's something that everybody, including the noise, if you live next to a school, yeah, there's kids' noises. There's the bell ring you can hear if you live near schools. And the smaller facilities would create much easier rather than having larger and larger facilities. One of the things regarding the traffic situation is some of these things are located on commercial streets, which cause a backup on major commercial roads. And it's much safer when it's on a residential. And the locations that we did share, that large area across the street that looks like a parking lot is actually the Unified School District, that majority of that huge area, as all noted. So just to finish up, I was gonna say, when you do your research, what we did is we searched preschools on Google in Glendale, and you can click on all of the locations, and majority of them are located on residential homes, similar situations, maybe a driveway that's not even being used.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, guys.
Okay, the next card is from Jono. Did you want to speak any more at this time?
No.
Okay. Next card is from owner Lilith.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Thank you. Next card is from a neighbor, Alice.
Hi,
Alice. I didn't put my address down there, but it's 1407 El Rito Avenue, Glendale, 91208. I am fully in favor for this project. I have 2 toddlers. One is now turning 3, one is turning 5. From the age of 2, kids are so advanced these days. I did my best, but it wasn't enough, I suppose. He needed more stimulation. Daycares were not for me. I wanted a preschool style private school, and it's actually pretty limited for a good school. I searched around, so Tufengkian is a huge example. Look into Tufengkian. It's in a residential, and it's gated, and there's a security, and it's a bunch of different classrooms, and it goes by age. There's like pink group, blue group, whatever, and it's 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and it's exactly structurally the way they're planning their school. My kids go to Glendale Bright Start Preschool, and it's on a main street, Colorado and Glendale, Colorado and Glendale, actually. It's public parking in the front, street parking. You can never find parking. Adjacent to it is an alley, which I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to park there. But we make it work. It's for the kids. My son, I've seen incredible changes. They've taught him, he's prepared for kindergarten, if not advanced. And my daughter is following in his footsteps. She wanted to go to school. She sees him going to school. I would take her with me to drop off pickup, and she was crying to go to school. They love it. The teachers are teaching every week I get new projects from them. They were tracing letters, numbers, the whole calendar. Literally last week they did caterpillars to butterflies. Every day he comes and he's learned something new that honestly, what I have been able, could I? Yes, if I had the time, the certification, the knowledge for their level of learning, which is what they cater to. So my daughter is in her own little classroom for the 2 to 3 year olds. And once they're in the 3-year-old range, there was again, depending on the child, if they're ready, they move on to the 3 to 5. So it's kind of like that. And they learn different things catered to their age. I've seen huge improvements. Tufengkian is a great example. I tried to get them into Tufengkian. It's just good schools are limited. We need good schools. If anything, the drop-off pickup is the least concern. We make it work. It's for the kids, and things move quickly. So drop-off pickup is quick, and yeah, I'm in favor for this. And I hope my daughter can go to that school. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next card is from Asia Ghazalian.
Hi, my name's Asia, 1315 Raymond Avenue, Glendale, California, 91201. Longtime resident of Glendale. I have 2 young children who have also attended private preschools here in Glendale. They're currently now at a public school in Balboa, and the pickup is it's a bit congested in that area, which is on Kennett. It's a busy street, but there's just a general understanding in that area that's just how it is, and it works out smoothly with the teachers helping out with the pickup. But also I wanted to mention that as a parent, I understand the importance of having access to a nearby local, reliable and safe school. I've also worked in classrooms for GUSD for 5 years, so I've seen the need for a quality early childhood education. And for those reasons, I fully support this new project and think it would be beneficial to our community.
Okay, question for you. If you're interested in receiving a copy of the decision letter, we would need your address. Do you want us to send that to you?
Sure.
Okay, what is your address?
1315 Raymond Avenue, Glendale, California, 91201.
Okay, thank you. And then do you live on the same block as this,
Or
as the site? Yeah, do you live,
I don't know.
okay, just in
Glendale.
elsewhere in the neighborhood? Okay, great, thank you. Next card is from the owner, Steve Gazalian. Did you want to say anything?
Everything has been covered, so I'm looking really more back. Provide a quality education to the...
Do you want to come up and go ahead and state your name for the record? And
Stefan Gazalian, 1350 Raymond. Also, like I said, everything's already been covered. We just want to provide the kids a safe place to have a quality education to prepare them for, their next level of schooling. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next card is from consultant project manager Liana.
Everything has been addressed.
Okay, Liana's the one who was speaking up here with Danny for most of the time. Okay, thank you, Liana. All right, are there any callers on the line?
Yes, Madam Hearing Officer, we have 4 callers, and I will take them one at a time. Mark, can you hear us? Mark Duncan?
Yes, I can.
Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Mark Duncan. My office is at the end of Palmer, and I just want to say I'm in support of the project. The area really needs, some good quality preschools, and I don't think that this will be any more of an impact on the street than the church was. I think there will probably be far less traffic and parking problems than when the church had big events. That's all.
Thank you.
We have Ara Hagopian. Ara, can you hear us?
Hi, my name is Ara Hagopian. I live in Glendale. I've been a long-time resident. I actually live in the neighborhood, and I am in full support of this new preschool. And I don't think the traffic situation is going to be an issue. I actually have 2 toddlers myself. We plan on, going to this school. And, I think it's a great idea. It's good for the city. It'll create jobs. And, I think Glendale does need another preschool.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
The next caller is Edward Markarian. Edward, can you hear us? Thanks for calling us back.
Hi, yes, I could hear you. My name is Edward Markarian. I'm a Glendale resident. I'm in support of the preschool as well. I have 2 kids under the age of 5, and both my wife and I work, so we really need, accessible childcare for both of our children. And I think having a preschool where they emphasize education would be really important for us, and the ease of pickup and drop off, I think, would benefit us as well. So I'm in support of the preschool as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. And the last caller on the line is Jiro Hagopian. Jiro, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I live at 415 West Acacia, a couple of blocks away from where they want to do the preschool. And as far as the concerns of traffic, I've lived in that area my whole life. Central has never had any traffic at any time of the day. Also, Glendale past Chevy Chase doesn't really have any preschools. And that's something that's for that neighborhood, for parents to drop off their kids. They could easily do it while they're walking. And one of the most things in Glendale is that we're in the top 20% in the state of education. And to keep that number, we actually do need more preschools just to keep that number below 20 in the state. So the sooner the kids get educated, the less it's going to cost in the future for working families. So majority of the preschools that are in Glendale are working, but we do need more. Specifically in this area, definitely we need more. If you look below Chevy Chase to Los Feliz, all the way up from West Chevy Chase, south and north, there isn't any preschools available. So I do live like a few blocks away, so I would definitely be able to use those schools for my kids. So thank you for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jiro. Thank you. Madam Chair, that was the last caller on the line.
Thank you. I did have a follow-up question for the applicant based on something that was mentioned during the comments. And it was about school bells. It was something about school bells, and it made me think of, are there, what kind of outdoor announcement, speaker system / what kind of, can somebody talk about what that might look like in this operation?
I am truly sorry for the misinformation, but for the facility and kids that we are catering to, there will be no school bells and no loud sounding alarms or outdoor microphones. It is just easily, each teacher follows their own schedule and class rules, and that's because each class follows a different rotation on schedule. Plus that, because they're so little, an alarm system like that will scare them.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. At this time, I'd like to invite the applicant to take advantage of a 5-minute rebuttal period if they need and/or want to, in response to anything that's been stated. They're indicating no, they don't want to do that. Okay. Great. So at this time, I think, we've gathered a lot of information here. So I would like to thank everyone who participated in the hearing today and those who shared comments. The information will be considered along with the case file documentation, and the case will now be taken under submission. So this hearing is now officially closed. Thank you.
Thank you.